All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders, and the men of great millstone. Shalom to the Akim if you Agwad who may be listening. These are your brothers from the GMS camp here in Chicago, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm the brother of Takallah.
And Alaya.
All right, and we're going to go quickly. We're going to go into the movie Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan in it. All right, just a quick synopsis of the movie is it's about a lawyer that Michael B. Jordan plays the lawyer, and he goes into these jails and tries to free Jakes that are wrongfully accused and put on death row. All right, and the main Jake that he's trying to free is played by Jamie Foxx. He was accused of killing a white woman, and he didn't kill her, but the movie just basically goes into how wicked Esau is with their laws and their court system, and how they railroad a lot of these Jakes that they put in jail for long periods of time and or on a death penalty, depending on what part of the country you're in. Some places have the death penalty, some places don't. All right, but it just shows you how many Jakes are in jail because of lack of good representation, whether either they don't have the money for a lawyer, or they pay a lawyer who's not a good lawyer, or they just don't have somebody that's really invested in their freedom, even though they're being paid. All right, and so a lot of these Jakes that are in jail because of that. Most of these, it's a lot of Jakes that didn't really commit crimes that have been, are so-called convicted murderers, convicted rapists, etc. Just because somebody said that they did it and they weren't able to prove it, without a doubt. All right, but we're gonna get these precepts and go further into it, Lord willing. This is edifying. All right, but we're going to start off with Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, "Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth." And that's what these devils do, It's not, they have these laws on the books for appearances only. All right? They're always going to do what's in their best interest, whether that mean, and, if that means that they use the law to their benefit, then they'll use it. If that means that they'll disregard the law to their benefit, then they'll do that too. All right. In the movie, Jamie Foxx got thrown in jail before he was even put on trial. They put him on death row before he even went to court. All right. Then when he went to court, they used fake evidence. They convinced Edomite to lie. Edomite that they threatened that they would put on death row if he didn't lie. But they convinced him to do that. And they hid all of the evidence that proved that Jamie Foxx's character didn't actually commit the murder. But because Esau is the one that's in charge of this whole court system, they didn't give a fuck. Jamie Foxx was black to them, so it didn't matter. Did you want to say something, brother?
Well, also they in the movie, if you notice, there was a lot of them. They said they were innocent. Only one said that he was guilty.
Yeah.
And he even told them,
yeah,
I did what I did, with the bomb. He made a bomb and blew some house.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and even that guy, should have been hospitalized for mental illness. He was a veteran in Vietnam. He had PTSD, and he was bugged out, and that's what caused him to commit the crime that he committed. But they weren't even trying to investigate that or look into that or anything, man. They just, they was looking at Jake like niggers and putting him to death. Go ahead, Big Up.
Okay, I got one. 11, Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that seldom say, Blessed be the Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pitying them not.
Wait, break it down, brother.
So, they still got us in their possession. They still got us in slavery, one way or another. Because they tell you you're free, but you're not really free. If you don't buy a city sticker, you can't move your car.
Yeah. You don't pay property tax, they take your house away. And at the end, whether they're slaying Jakes, with the death penalty, and some of these Jakes do. I'm not saying, because one thing I will say is that the death penalty is in the scriptures. We're not saying that we're against the death penalty. If you commit a sin unto death in the scriptures, you were put to death for that. but you had to be found guilty. There had to be witnesses. There had to be proof, and there was due process. Everybody got their opportunity to plead their case to the judge, and if the judge found you guilty, you had to pay the price. But it wasn't no, if you did a sin unto death, you wasn't fucking in jail for 20 years to be a slave and then put to death after the 20 years was up. You was getting put to death on the spot if you was found guilty of a sin unto death. All right, and like I said, you know, everybody, all the evidence was produced, all the witnesses were produced, and the verdict was based off of that. These devils, they decided that they was going to kill the Jamie Foxx dude because he had slept with a white woman. And instead of getting a lynch mob and calling a lynch mob up, they just made up a fake story that he killed a white woman and locked him up for that. And he wasn't even over there in the area that shit happened in when it happened. He was doing something completely different, had multiple witnesses attest to that, and Esau disregarded all that stuff, man. And it took them putting that shit on 60 Minutes and having these other Edomites call out the Edomites in Alabama, I believe they were in, which is the only reason why this guy even got a chance to get out. All right, but let me get another precept, because this is nothing new, man. And you see, like the brother said, you know, they got us in slavery one way or another. We are their possession in one way or another until Yahweh Shai comes back. But a lot of you jakes think that shit is different, and you think that you free now, and it's not true. All right. This is Ezekiel 35:4. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right. And Salakia. And we're at a time now where we should have been, you know, after the chattel slavery period and all of that, these devils they should have been let us go and been done with it. All right. But just like Pharaoh, the Lord hardened their heart, and they haven't let us go and be free and be to ourselves. They constantly are vexing us. They're constantly coming against us in various ways, not just locking Jakes up, not just putting Jakes to death. You know, all the food that we eat is tainted. All the air we breathe is tainted. The water we drink is tainted. It's everything in this society is made to kill you slowly. You know, all the things that we use, even in your soap, whatever, you know, these devils are putting folly in everything. Go ahead.
The food is spoiled.
Yeah.
You eat healthy and you gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I got one precept.
Go ahead.
What you just said.
Bring it up.
Ecclesiastes 1. The thing that had been...
9. It's like Ecclesiastes 1:9.
1:9, yes. I'm sorry, brother.
Yo,
like Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that had been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So there you have it. Like just like the brother said it. Everything that happened in the past is happening now. Of course, it's not the same, because it's never the same. But if you look at it, it's similar.
Yeah, it's the same. It's just taking place in a different time. They're doing the same shit. They might be doing it with a different method or a different way, but they motives and what they want to do is the same as it was back then, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, they might have more modern ways of doing what they do now. You know, less. A lot of the things they do now are less visible. You know, they're killing you invisibly. They don't have to hang Jake up in trees no more. Not saying that they don't do that. They still doing that. But, you know, back then, especially in the slave days and in those times, you know, they was really fucking Jake up with torture and all type of shit. Now they can just poison the food and poison the water, and they don't have to do all that other shit no more. They found a better way to have you in slavery. You know, a way where you think that you're free. But it's still nothing. It's no different than when we was in slavery and had the chains on. You know.
You want me to get Baruch?
Go ahead, get it. Go ahead, call it out.
Baruch 3:8. We are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach, and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Yahweh Hashem Yahushai our power.
Yeah, so we still here, man. We still in captivity. We're gonna be in captivity till Yahushai returns and delivers us from this captivity. All right. How do you know that you're in captivity? There are no lawmakers that are of your own people that are in your best interest ruling over you. You're ruled over by your enemy. You have to go to your enemy for the want of all things. You're subject to payments, whether it's taxes, utility bills, whatever the fuck. In order to live in this society, you have to constantly be paying money. All right. Even if you so-called own your house, you still have to pay the government every year a certain amount depending on where you live to be able to live in that house. It's called property taxes. All right. Same thing with your car. You have to pay a tax on that. You have to pay for insurance on that, etc. Everything you do costs money. All right. And, that's just what it's going to be till Yahushua comes back. All right. But one thing I want to make clear is that, although these devils are doing all these things to us and everything like that, this is a punishment for us coming against the Lord. And the Lord is the one that's putting the spirit on these devils to deal with us like this. All right. This is the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and Yahweh hath not done it? All right. Now, even an example like with the movie, they had these guys going to jail. Some of them didn't commit a crime in this life, but you don't know what they did in their past life. All right. And then on top of that, Jamie Foxx, they said that guy had sex with a white woman. You don't know if that woman was somebody's wife. They don't mention that, Now, I'm not, I don't know. So I'm not saying that the brother did commit adultery, but, we don't know if he did. We don't know if that woman that he has slept with was somebody's wife. If it was, then he should have been put to death, according to the law of the scriptures, whether she was married to an Edomite or not. All right. Now, like I said, they didn't go over and say that he slept with somebody's woman. So I'm not saying he did or he didn't. But, like I said, we don't believe in just letting people do what they want to do either. We know that we're in punishment. That's why we're in this captivity. And we know a lot of these jakes be going off, man. All right. And even just to be honest, and you might think it's a small thing, but when this Jake went back home to his house, these niggas was at the house barbecuing pork, man. Finna go and celebrate with a pork barbecue, which is wicked. Now that doesn't absolve those devils for doing what they did to that brother. But the point that I'm making is that even though according to the laws that Esau has laid out, that the brother was dealt with unfairly and unjustly, and they were wicked for that, that brother is still not innocent. All right. Like the scripture says, whoever perished being innocent. All right. So he had to pay for something that he did. And that's how the Lord decided that he was going to pay for it. Okay. But the beauty of that is that, even though we are going through a punishment and receiving less than our iniquities deserve, these devils are still going to pay the price for doing what they did to us, even though it's a punishment unto us. This Revelation 13 and 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. So these devils have been set up by the Lord to be an instrument of our punishment, but the Lord is still going to deliver these devils into our hand, and we're going to be able to pay them back for that, man. All right. So we just got to stay prayed up, stay in this truth, continue to pray for mercy, continue to follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability as much as possible. And Lord willing, we'll be out of here soon, and we can be the elect, and we can get the fuck out of here and come back with Yahushua and fucking destroy this place after everything happens. We can come back and get the rest of these devils rounded up, get them in slavery, get them cleaning this place up, and be a first round draft pick in the kingdom, man. That's what we looking for. All right. You got anything else you want to say, brother?
No, that's absolutely.
Khan. All right, well, with that being said, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and the men of great millstone. Shalom to the Akim and the few Akwat who may be listening. Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Until next time, Kwam Yasharala Wa Ba Ba Ba.